Hey everyone, Dan Joseph here. Now, first off, let me preface this blog by saying that if you are a soccer fan, this video is going to make you cry. How do I know that you'll cry? Well, because you're a soccer fan. Please, all of you Americans who are pretending to enjoy watching soccer, you need to stop. Soccer is boring and you know it. Hey Dad, we're going to the bar to watch the World Cup. No, you're not. You're gonna go to the bar, watch the first 3 minutes of the game, realize it's boring, and then start talking to your friends. Then when something happens, you'll turn really quickly towards the TV and react as if you actually saw it. Saying, yeah, soccer! There are some real soccer fans in this country, yes, but a huge portion of the people who are jumping on the World Cup bandwagon are either women and gays who are only watching because they think the players are cute, or they're people who just want an excuse to go to the bar on a Wednesday afternoon. In this country, we have a term for people who go to the bar on a Wednesday afternoon, and it's not soccer fan. Now, no matter what anybody tells you, the reality is that in the United States, professional spectator soccer is only slightly more popular than sex crimes. But Dan, 18 million people in the country tuned into the last US World Cup game. Okay, so 6 million people who are legally in the country like soccer. Big deal. Soccer, or football as the rest of the world calls it, was invented by a group of people a long-ass time ago. It consists of a bunch of guys in tiny shorts running up and down a field and trying to kick a head-sized ball into a giant net. As simple as that concept is, ironically, hardly anyone playing the game is ever able to accomplish this, and as a result, soccer often ends up in a low-scoring tie, or as we in America call it, change the damn channel. Americans have never really warmed up to soccer, and contrary to the opinion of a lot of soccer apologists these days, the country isn't suddenly becoming soccer obsessed due to the US's above average performance in this year's World Cup. And I use the term above average loosely, as the US team has won one game so far. There are a whole bunch of great reasons as to why soccer has not and will not catch on in America. The most important of these is that Americans have a vast array of far more entertaining sports to choose from, like bowling or competitive sleeping. How hard is it to make rules ensuring that one team actually wins the game? When time runs out, instead of heading to the locker room to make out with each other, well, we know the European teams aren't going in there to shower, the players should have a shootout until somebody scores. Would that really take up too much of these soccer hooligans' precious time? It's not like they have jobs or anything. Are the fans just in such a hurry to participate in the inevitable post-game trampling? Do the refs have to go home and cut more yellow and red cards out of construction paper for the next day? What's the point of a yellow card? It's like the equivalent of the UN writing an angry letter to a rogue regime. There's really no time limit in soccer. After regulation plays over, the refs let the game go on for an unspecified amount of time, which I like to call mystery time. Then they just call the game when they get bored, which is remarkably not right away. Now, there's some evidence that even the hardcore soccer fans don't find the game all that interesting. The crowds at these games spend most of the game singing. They don't just do it when something good happens, they pretty much sing throughout the entire game. But this is understandable. They're bored! Also, there's almost no chance that they'll miss anything happening on the field, so why not make a musical out of it? Athletically speaking, soccer is a grueling sport for most of the players, but being a soccer announcer has got to be the toughest job in the world. That guy has to explain nothing happening for 2 hours. Europeans in particular really don't understand why Americans don't like soccer. But it is the most popular sport in the world. Okay, Subway is the most popular sandwich shop in the world, but that doesn't mean their sandwiches don't taste like a sweat sock full of dry lettuce. It only says that there are a whole bunch of Subways and no better sandwich places to go to in the general vicinity. Europeans think that one reason why Americans are not as infatuated with soccer as they are is that we're just not very good at it. But the Chicago Cubs are bad at baseball and they have plenty of fans. Sure, the US is unusually bad at soccer, but children in this country have options to play a lot of other sports. Sports where you need equipment and where if you're good enough you can make a lucrative career out of your game of choice. All you need to play soccer is some kind of ball, or if you're in the Muslim world, the head of an infidel. That's why third world nations tend to be much better than we are. Soccer is like the tic-tac-toe of the sporting world. If you have an Xbox, you have absolutely no reason to play. Also, it frequently ends in a draw. The best athletes in every other country gravitate towards the one sport that they have, while the best athletes here gravitate to the sport which they can make the most money in, which is almost any sport besides pro soccer. It simply doesn't have the fan base to warrant high player salaries. But the primary reason why soccer will never be popular in the US is because there's almost no scoring. In an average average NHL hockey game, there are over 5 goals scored. Major League Baseball typically has over 8 runs scored per game. Major League Soccer, you're lucky if you see 3 goals in a match, and in the 2010 World Cup, the average game had 2.2 goals. 2.2 goals over a period of 90 minutes. To me, watching that would be the equivalent of taking a handful of Lunesta and watching the director's cut of The English Patient. I hear a lot of soccer fans defend their boring-ass sport by saying, well, baseball is boring too. But baseball also requires strategy. In baseball, almost every move is pre-planned, whereas in soccer, they basically throw the ball in the middle of the field and let the two sides chase after it like a bunch of epileptic gazelles. Yes, baseball has a lot of stoppages of play that slow it down, but those stoppages are intended to be there to give the players and coaches time to devise a necessary strategy. Soccer is slow as hell, and there are no stoppages of play at all. But let's not give up on soccer yet, America. Here are a few of my ideas to make soccer a bit more interesting. The field is just too freaking big. Size it down a bit, more goals. That's an easy one. Come on. We can all agree on that, right? Maybe add a second ball to the game. This would make things more exciting for the goalies and increase scoring dramatically. Also, maybe have the second ball, I don't know, explode every once in a while. Mandatory steroids for all soccer players. Remember when everyone was juicing in the major leagues and there were like a zillion home runs? How awesome was that? Look, just let them use their damn hands every once in a while. Finally, give one player on each team a gun with 1 bullet in it that they are permitted to use at any point during the game. Not only does this add a new strategic element to the game, but eventually the world would run out of soccer players. That's 2 problems I just solved there. I'm Dan Joseph. If I pissed off all you soccer fans, I'm sorry. I know how sensitive you guys are to criticism of your sport. Or maybe you're just pretending to be offended, just like the players you love are always pretending to be injured. But if you're a red-blooded American who likes football and hockey, then click on the red widget below and subscribe to my channel. And now I leave you with the most annoying sound in the world. I mean, the World Cup isn't even a cup. I mean, the Stanley Cup, that's a cup. I mean, look at it. What the hell is that thing? It's like alien hands trying to pull a soccer ball into hell. It's appropriate, I guess.